Hey fellow knitters, today I'll be showing you how to bind off in the round. It's the same exact method as when you bind off with straight needles, but I figured a video on this will help you kind of visualize how it's done on circular needles. And this is a tube scarf that I'm currently finishing off. If you're interested in the free pattern, I'll put it in the info box below to my blog. You can feel free to use that to recreate it. But anyhow, let's go down to the video with the bind off. So right here is the beginning of the round. This is my makeshift stitch marker. It's just a paper clip. Kind of just gotta work with what you have. But anyway, this is the beginning of the round. This is the end of the round. So here's the yarn here. So if you can recall, on straight needles you have an empty needle on the right. However, when you're working with circular needles, you have it all in a round. So basically what you want to do is knit 2 stitches off of your left-handed needle onto your right-handed needle so you can start the bind off. So I'm just going to knit 1 and knit a second stitch, and then you have 2 stitches on your right-handed needle. This is the end of the round again, and then these are the 2 stitches that I just put on my right-handed needle, and you're just going to start the bind off by grabbing this rightmost stitch and pulling it over this stitch right here. So in the beginning it might be a little bit difficult because everything is so tightly knit together, so you don't want to pull the yarn too tight. So after you've done that, pulled the right stitch over the left stitch, you want to take it off of the needle, and you have 1 stitch remaining right here. And what you're going to do is knit another stitch onto the right-handed needle, and then again pull that rightmost stitch over the left stitch. And again you have 1 stitch on the right-handed needle, so you're going to knit another one to create 2, and then pull that rightmost stitch over the left stitch. And as you do this, you'll see this gap here from the end of your round to the part where you're binding off getting larger and larger, and you just kind of let this one go as is. You're really only focused on the stitches right here. You can use your index finger to kind of prevent that 1 stitch from slipping off. So just like that. And basically you're going to just continue with this until you get to the other end. I'm not going to show you every single stitch because there's about 80 or so stitches in the round, so I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward this part until I get to the very end. As you can see, as I bind off, the end of the round is here, and it kind of keeps moving along the circular needle. Majority of the work is already bound off the needles. Here is the bind off, and I just have a few more stitches left. And here's the last stitch on the left-handed needle. There's one on the right-handed needle. So you just knit that onto the right-handed needle, and then there's nothing left on this left-handed needle here, as you can see, and you just pull that last stitch over, and you're left with 1 stitch left. Now here is the other side of the round, the beginning of the round. As you can see, there's a little bit of a gap here, so don't lose this loop quite yet. So you want to close up this gap. So usually what I do is I pull so the loop doesn't get lost or doesn't unravel. I make sure I hold this, and then I take the needle out and set it aside. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip the yarn so I have a long tail, because I'm going to eventually want to weave in the loose end. I want to make sure I leave enough to weave in the loose end, but what I'll do is I'll just snip it. And here's the loop, just make sure it doesn't unravel. And usually what I do is I take a crochet hook, or you can string it onto a tapestry needle, and I'll take this loose end and I will loop it through right here, just so the loop doesn't unravel. So as you can see, it's kind of like tying a knot, and then I pull it lightly. You don't want to pull it too tightly, But as you can see, this is secure now, but there's kind of an uneven gap. So what I do is I take the loose end and I kind of connect it to this initial loop right here to kind of close the gap. So I'll show you right now. Take the crochet hook and you just want to hook the yarn in and loop it through that hole just like that. Pull it through, and that kind of secures this gap right here. And right now it's not tight, so you can still see the hole, but you can just pull it tight. So what I did here is I put the crochet hook through, and then I'm pulling the yarn through the loop. Pull it all the way through, and it kind of just secures this area. And you can pull it tighter to kind of close up the gap here. And there you go, that's it. That's how you bind off in the round. And basically what you want to do after this is you want to weave in the loose end and kind of hide it alongside the edge of your work. And if you'd like to learn how to do that, I did make a video on that, so I'll link it right here if you want to check that out. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below, or if you want to get a faster response, you can tweet me. I usually respond as soon as I can once I receive the tweet. So again, just let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.